Zion.
I open up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me.
And through the tribulation,
I know I must stand. For a new heaven, a new earth, show me the way
to Zion.
I'm on my knees,
Laying my life on the line, I'm begging, please. Please don't let me forgive me.
strength. Place my feet, guide my path, show me the way
To Zion.
to Zion. I feel the Spirit calling me, drawing me back home. And something with my family, I know it won't be long. One day you're gonna look for me, and I'll be gone home. Yeah, here's when it's calling us back home to Zion.
Hit those likes. Hit those likes. Drive the traffic real quick. It'll let everyone know that class has begun.
I'm begging, please. Please don't let me forget the strength. To Zion. To Zion, to Zion. Please give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path, the way to Zion.
To Zion. Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Elder Ricard Shiar of the Gathering of Christ Church here with another Sabbath lesson. Okay, here with a new Sabbath lesson along with Elder Lawyer. Along with Elder Lawyer, all praises be to the Most High. Our lesson today is titled, The Dark Ministry Within Christianity. The dark ministry within Christianity. There's so many points I wanted to touch today. A matter of fact, we did have a lesson that was sent throughout all the churches in which we were going to go into just to have, the regular weekly lesson. But out of nowhere, believe it or not, out of nowhere, folks, something came to me and said, you know what? We need to go into the dark ministers or ministry within Christianity. And I told Lawyer, I said, Lawyer, it just came to me. Mm-hmm. I went and grabbed some books, pulled up some pictures with some references, and I said, you know what? It's time to go in. The dark ministry within Christianity is our title today. Do me a favor, hit the like button on your screen. That will drive traffic. It actually let those on the outside know that this is trending and we are accessible online now. It'll show live and it'll, drive traffic here. A very important broadcast we have today. So I hope that brothers and sisters get in. And I'm glad you're here, blessed with the Gathering of Christ Church. to hear what the Most High have given us to convey to all of you this morning. Before we begin, let's start off with the Hebrew Credo. Shema.
Shema Yasha'Allah Ahaya Allahayanawa Ahaya Akkad.
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 Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one.
Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. And we do praise the Most High on this Sabbath. His name is Ahaya, the God of all gods, who brought forth to us in the beginning the creator of all things, Yeshaya. Through the Holy Spirit, the Ruach, we thank the Most High for the opportunity to come before you in the spirit of Yeshaya to help free God's people from their mental anguish and bondage, in hopes of freeing them from the political and religious onslaught, the perpetual onslaught that have always been aimed towards God's people, the children of Israel who are now spread throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay. I had a lot of time to think about this, right? It's been on my mind. Let me turn this up just a little. Let's see. All right. Yeah, it's a little better. It's been on my mind that there's so many things happening all at once, right? That through the Spirit, we must keep levity as well as focus on what this awakening is all about, right? We must keep our foot on Satan's neck along with his ministers. And I'm saying this especially to the Jews first, but also to the Gentiles. There's so many things in this Babylonian confusion that if we don't stay focused, the devil will come in. The devil will come in and begin to strangle, as well as divert and sow seeds of doubt in those who have been awakened. So it's important for us as elders, as teachers, because believe it or not, we have so many things going on at the same time, right? We have the project with the music. We have looking at it as a vehicle to spread the gospel on the next level. Mm-hmm. We have our families, personal issues that happens even within our families. We have deaths that are going on, people close to us in the church and otherwise. A lot of different things that can normally, put a hiccup or at least, make a serious bump in the road in this ministry on the path. So it's important that we keep our focus on what this is, this awakening. Brothers and sisters, treat it precious and understand that this is an anomaly that the Most High have given us. The understanding of ourselves once again and this Bible. Also, be cognizant in knowing the enemy at all times. And I thought about it. I said, you know what? You have people sending in spies. You have Jesuits who are paid to go from state to state, city to city. This is how important this is, folks. Watching Israelites and looking to find something negative on Israelites. And these are Jesuits. who have always worked under the dark pope of the Roman Catholic Church, who are now sending out their personal agents, knowing that the ministers or the taskmasters they have put over our church have no authority over the black community anymore. They understand that these agents they use in our communities isn't doing the service to a degree that's satisfactory for them. It's not enough. So now they're sending out agents. I'm gonna tell you, folks, they're gonna be sending people within the works. They're gonna be sending people on the streets to try to instigate. They're going to be asking questions that lead to provocation or to give a negative spin to this awakening, because this is how the Jesuits has always worked. Right? The devil himself is sending his agents. No longer is it about, let me tell you about this. T.D. Jakes, Creflo Dollar, they'd rather us focus on them and come against the black pastors in our neighborhoods. But Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes, they're low level, folks. That's not the focus. They're not the focus. They're low level. Theologically and otherwise, they only have one lane. They don't really teach the Bible. They're more so what you would call presenters. They're before you as presenters and motivational speakers more so than anything. Mm-hmm. That's all. You very rarely hear them read the Bible. It's about motivating people and to keep them comfortable in this hellhole we call Babylon, this confusion. So they know they can no longer use T.D. Jakes, create a flow of dollars. All of that's over now. We see better now. And it's not even focusing on them. We need to now introduce to you, brothers and sisters, their lords, their controllers. Right? The dark ministry within Christianity is what we're going to present to you. We're going to begin it today, but we're going to continue it as we go on through history moments on our new page, in which we will upload more intel on the dark ministers within Christianity. And the reason why I'm not going to focus on Buddhists or even Muslims, right, or other ideologies, and we may touch on them in the academy or whatever the case might be. But the reason why I'm not going to be focusing on them online in our classes in GOCC media predominantly is because the political and religious head of Christianity controls all religious sects on earth. That's their agenda. That has always been their agenda. Okay? Politically and otherwise, believe it or not, Islam and all these other religions, okay, they're actually the underlords under their overlord, the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? When you think about the Roman Catholic Church, you think of the religious sect, follow it with the Bible open. These people don't follow the Bible. This is a political monster in which the Bible spoke about. And they have set up ministers who work in dark places. The real leaders of Christianity are seldom seen. These are the people that Creflo Dollar, that T.D. Jakes goes to for approval, for acceptance. And without these masters, T.D. Jakes, okay, create a flow of dollars, even Oprah Winfrey wouldn't exist. And yes, I'm mentioning Oprah Winfrey too, because these overlords under the Catholic Church, they're not isolated to the religious sect of power. Mm-hmm. They're over everything. They're over everything, folks. And I'm speaking of the Jesuit order of the Catholic Church. And our Lord and Savior warned us of them. So no longer will I be addressing the little minions they may grab up to try to shine some darkness or some so-called expose or exposing of our work. No longer will I be addressing any of that, because we know who's working behind the scenes. They're Jesuits. They'll use peons and puppets. Okay, nah, we're not dealing with the peons anymore. We're going straight for the jugular. We're going to show you their lords. They will send people out all amongst Israelites right now. Their main focus is the Israelites. Why? Because that's the only, quote unquote, from their standpoint, their view, that's the only religious sect that's not under the control of the papacy, under the religious fraternities set up in the United States or abroad. So you'll never see them demonize Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists, Baptists, none of that. They'll debate certain points, but all in all, right now, the whole earth's religious focus is on the awakening of God's people. Okay, we have almost 600 in here, so I guess we can start now. So no longer will we be focusing on peons and little people they may find. Or let's find out who got something negative to say about the GOCC, and let's bring them on for an interview and let's get some intel. You want some intel? We're right here. You want to know about us? Contact us. We'll have you on. And use this Bible to rip you asunder. Okay, so we're not dealing with the low-level snakes anymore. We're going after their masters. Right? Our God is a higher. Okay, and he has tasked us with the knowledge and understanding of this Bible to put a foot on the neck of the serpents. Okay. Even Christ, it prophesied that Christ shall bruise the head of the serpent. Okay. So we're going to introduce you to their lords today. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Revelation, the 13th chapter.
Revelation chapter 13, verse number 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea.
I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. Now, seldom would you see a Christian church within our community teaching out of the book of Revelation. Seldom, if any. They're only taught to stay within their confusion that was taught to them through the misunderstanding of Paul's writings. Okay? The philosophical bubble that they're in place, that they've little compartmentalized place they've been put in by the philosophers, the Romans, the Greeks. But we'll go into the book of Revelation. We'll go any chapter. See? Read it.
And I stood up upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Now, this 7 heads and 10 horns right here, folks, represents the same 7 heads and 10 horns we read in Daniel's vision. Right? So, let's get what those 7 heads represents real quick, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Go on.
Revelation chapter 17, verse 9. And here is the mind that have wisdom. 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
7 mountains. And what city is made out of 7 mountains or have 7 hills associated with it within the old world? Rome. Rome was known as a city with 7 hills. Here's the vision shown to John on the Isle of Patmos. Thank you. Go on.
Revelation 17, verse 9. And here is the mind that have wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come.
And the other is not yet come. So we all know, according to this, a beast, a future beast, a little beast would come, or an empire would come out of the Roman Empire like unto her. That little one that haven't come yet, as of yet during John's time, is America. That will be made out of that beast. Once that deadly womb is healed, it will become a new world. Rome on steroids, the virgin daughter of Babylon. Read.
Verse number 11. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7.
Is of the 7.
And goeth into perdition.
And goeth into perdition. Read.
Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
So when it says haven't received power as of yet, because keep in mind, Rome is only a small place. Italy is small. But it consolidated power religiously from that area to actually consolidate or to conquer outwardly, absorbing the areas around them, around Rome, and expanding to a degree in which they would one day own the whole globe through a one world order. At this time, it only extends out from Rome and the 10 horns. Now, these 10 horns are 10 European countries ruled and powered by Caucasians. Now, most people out there believe that these people, because they rule from an originally Japhetic area, that these people from Rome are Japheth. But no, that's incorrect. These people conquered years ago under Edom. Okay, under Esau. And Zepho was sent into Europe, the grandson of Edom, and began to conquer. By the time Christ came on the scene, that's right, Esau has now consolidated power in Greek territory as well as Roman territory. They're the 4th beast. Esau, Edom, is the so-called white man. Let's make it clear. So just because they conquered Japhetic lands doesn't mean they're Japhetic. That's just like saying the European white man that came to the shores of America who conquered North American Indians, because they're on the same land as the North American Indians, are now North American Indians. Does that make any sense to you? There's no place in the Bible that says Japheth will rule the world in the end. This beast is a scarlet colored beast. It's red. Edom, red. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's speaking of, in particular, one moment. Read what you have again, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Revelation 17, verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet.
And it says receive no kingdom as of yet because they were crowned first under the Roman Empire. They were superpowers in their own right in their respective areas. I'm speaking of the 10 original European factions. Read them out for me, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
One moment. Here it is. I have it. You have it?
Yes, sir.
I need you to read out the 10 horns under the Roman Catholic Church, or originally a part of the original, what you would call monster coming out of the waters. This is what John seen on the Isle of Patmos.
Yes, sir. Luxembourg.
Denmark. Come on.
Belgium. Netherlands. Germany. Sweden. France. Spain. Great Britain. And Switzerland.
Our lesson today for those who've just come in. The dark ministry within Christianity is what we're going to show you today. Who's really ruling Christianity throughout the earth? We're not going to deal with the low-level denominations who are being controlled through Jesuits. Right? So we're going to concentrate on the beast and then show you who's being used out of that beast to control the minds of the people in the earth today. Here are the 10 horns: Luxembourg, Denmark, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, France, Spain, Great Britain, and Switzerland. Now, these all have the same agenda, politically and religiously, regardless of what they try to claim to the contrary to what they think are ignorant citizens within their country. They would make you think that the hierarchy over the country have the citizens' best interest at heart, and that you ought to become loyal to a stationary or an independent country because that country alliance is really towards its people. That's what one would think. But no, their alliance at the hierarchy is to Rome. Okay. That's who they're aligned with. And their allegiance is not to their constituencies. These particular countries have the same agenda as Rome. There's no independent war going on that would make you believe, oh, Great Britain fought against Russia, and Great Britain fought against Germany in World War I and World War II, and the people were killed and all that. They'll have you believe that there's some type of war, infighting going on. Okay. And by default, these things are just happen chance, and all things are just coming out through coincidences. There's no overarching plan or quote unquote conspiracy to control the earth. Every war pushes a prophetic scenario along into fruition. Every war is for a political purpose of control over the people. And I'm going to show you that. And religion is their key weapon. Read the 10 for me again.
Yes, sir. Luxembourg, Denmark, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, Sweden, France, Spain, Great Britain, and Switzerland.
These were the original 10 horns who consolidated power with Rome. Rome would set up priesthoods and a military faction, as well as an educational faction, using these original 10. The ideology from these particular 10, along with Rome, okay, would be Satan's ideology. So that Esau could consolidate power and bring all the earth citizens under a one world order under Satan, whom they call Lucifer, the dragon. Okay, come on.
Verse 13. These have one mind.
They have one mind.
And shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
Hold up. They have one mind.
And shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
So don't fall for these so-called disagreements, political or otherwise, that you might see on Sky News or CNN and saying this European country have a problem with this European country. No. When you see these 10 together, know they are together. There's no such thing as a Russian-American impasse. They're not rivals. There's no such thing as a European spat between the Russians and other areas, and they're just the bad black child of Europe who's always in disagreement. No. They're together. They're together, folks. And see, this is another reason. I'm going to put this out there. I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'm going to talk about this near the election time, when the election cycle comes around, right? This is one reason. Another reason why I personally decided not to vote in this system. And the reason why I personally decided not to vote, even though there's perks, believe it or not, as a citizen that you can have by voting to do certain things on the local level. I understand the politics of it. But I decided not to vote because I realized all those positions, all those political positions are religious positions. These are religious positions, be it city council and all that. All of them, folks, had to do what? They had to actually swear an oath to get in. When Christ tells us that you are not to swear by heaven, earth, or nothing in the earth, or under the earth, or in heaven above. So who are they making an oath to for that dark position? They have to put their hand over their heart, put their hand on the quote unquote Bible, in which the Bible says swear not. Christ said swear not, and make an oath. So they're making an allegiance to what? It doesn't matter how low that political seat is. They're making an allegiance to the dark side, to Rome. I'm going to show you this. That's how Rome has expanded its political power beyond the 10 horns. That's why I don't vote, because I understand I'm voting against my God. I'm voting against my Savior. Even though there's political perks and things you get on the local level by participating. I understand that. But I know what happens once they are initiated into Rome's fraternity. Our lesson today: the dark ministry within Christianity. That's why I don't vote. Because you might have intentions for your community. But once you get behind those closed doors and join those fraternities after making an oath to Satan, because that's who you're making an oath to. The Bible didn't say swear on it. Your agenda is dictated by your overlords. They don't care about your intentions. That's for the people out there. Smile and take pictures with babies out there. You follow what you're told here. When you walk through those red doors, your behind belongs to Satan. And this is why you may go into the politics with a good intention in hopes of helping your community, while your community just get worse and wax worse and worse right under your watch. Everything you want to do for the community, nothing is changing, isn't it? Is it? Is anything changing? No. Why? Because you're not supposed to do anything for your community. You are now a part of a fraternity under Satan. Period. But that's a whole nother conversation I'll go into, a whole nother thing I'll go into near the election cycle. All right? But go on, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse number 13. These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb.
Now it says what? They shall give their power unto the beast, which is Satan. Satan gives them power. Read.
These shall make war with the Lamb.
And they are together, those same European countries, according to John, to war against the Lamb, to fight against Christ. To fight against Christ. See? Check that out. See, and this is why the Roman Catholic Church and all the harlots out of her, folks, celebrate these pagan holy days. They are against the Lamb. They're not celebrating Christ's birthday. They lied to you. Okay? This is why they worship the sun on Sunday and made it a new Sabbath, knowing that's Satan's Sabbath. They're at war with Christ, folks. So today we're going to show you their dark ministers, the puppet masters, those that are holding the strings over your TD Jakes, your creative flow of dollars. Those guys really don't have power. They don't have any power. The only power they have is to do what? Offer the chalice of wine that's given to them to their constituencies or to those who are under their spell. They're no more than one who would take the chalice or the cup given to them by the Roman Catholic Church and say, have your congregation drink it. That's it. Nothing else. That's all they do. They're facilitators of the cup. What cup? We're going to show you. Read.
These shall make war with the Lamb.
These will make war with the Lamb. So think about that for a moment, folks. So if they're going to war with the Lamb, who is Christ himself, how is it people have been duped or confused into following them as the authority over Christianity? The Bible tells us the Roman Catholic Church, Rome, Europe, is at war with the Lamb. They're preparing a war in heaven, knowing Christ is coming to save us. The brokenhearted, the fatherless, the poor, the meek of the earth, the same people they have always worked to destroy, Christ is coming for us. So if they're at war with the Lamb, now we understand why our people are suffering so. Because they've always been at war with those who are related to the Lamb, the Lion of Judah, the blacks, those that have been conquered also in South America and made to bow to the Roman image. and now they're predominantly Catholics. And I'm speaking of our people who are already in South America before the conquistadors were sent from Spain by Rome. The Bico Taino Indians, the Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans. Why do you think they're all predominantly Roman Catholic? Why do you think they go to Roman Catholic Church? They were conquered, folks. They were conquered. I thank the Most High, even though we know that the Baptist Church is nothing more than one of the harlots out of the Roman Catholic Church. I thank the Most High that my mother didn't raise me Catholic. It's dark at its core. It's more of a political faction than it is a religious institution. Because Catholic is, believe it or not, folks, that's the tippy top of all religion. Of all religious sects on earth, that's the strongest. It's over Islam. It's over Buddhism. Guess what? It's over Judaism too. It's over all of them. Because Judaism came out of the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? The Basilians sent a faction of priests into Gocc. The Basilians, they're called. In the 2nd century, the Basilians were sent into the area of Gocc as Roman priests. And they came out Khazars, making you believe that their prime religion is Judaism, when really the allegiance is to the papacy. Okay? This is why I'm not going to be focusing no more on what's going on in the black churches and all that. That's the ignorant, the ignorant special stepchild of the Roman Catholic Church. Okay? That's the total dysfunction, confusion faction of their church. Okay? I'm not even going to be focusing on them anymore. We need to focus on their handlers. Okay? Because there was no such thing as black Baptists on the slave ships. There was no such thing as black Catholics on the slave ships. Okay? There was no such thing as black Jehovah Witnesses on the slave ships, or Puerto Rican Catholics or Mexican Catholics before the conquerors. So they would rather instigate the infighting so that we can take our eye off of them. So they will promote the infighting. I'm like, nah, let's go for the jugular. The dark ministers within Christianity. Every time every time I speak of Christianity going forward, the majority of the time, it's going to be pointing out their overlords. We're going to give you names, information, research. You pastors out there, whether you agree with the Gathering of Christ Church or not, please write down the references in the names we give you today and follow this trail. Whether you agree with us or not. They want us infighting because it doesn't matter. If TD Jakes, Creflo Dollar, regardless of what they're doing, they're my people. And they would rather me attack them. I'm talking about the overlords that have made them. They would rather me attack them while they work in the dark and cultivate the next replacement for TD Jakes, for Creflo Dollar. They already got the next people in line to replace their puppets. Come on, Elder Lloyd.
Revelation 17, verse 14. These shall make war with the Lamb,
These shall make war with the Lamb,
and the Lamb shall overcome them.
but Christ, our Lord, shall overcome them. Read.
For he is the Lord of lords,
For he is the Lord of lords,
and the King of kings,
and the King of kings.
and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
And those that are with them are what?
Are called and chosen and faithful.
Called, chosen, and faithful. To what? The original doctrine Christ gave the disciples. Ever since the disciples were martyred, ever since Christ was crucified and the disciples were martyred and Jerusalem was destroyed, this earth has been in a dark place with the Romans controlling Christianity. And Christ told us this would happen. They put in Nicene Fathers, even before the Nicene Fathers, folks. The 2nd century Fathers, after the death of our people from Jerusalem, out of Jerusalem, all of those people that were placed as so-called saints in the 2nd century were all heretics. They're not following Peter. Even during the Nicene Creed, under the Arius dispute, they poisoned Arius. Why? Because Arius said, if we teach what you're bringing here, our people will become pagans. We're Jews. We're Israelites. We will not denounce the Sabbath day. They poisoned him. They killed him. Because he stood for the gospel of Christ. He stood for the Sabbath day. He stood for the high holy days. And he wasn't going for that garbage they was teaching, that Christ is God, understanding that the Romans were actually pushing a Babylonian God to be worshiped. Not only one God, but three under a Trinity, where Mary would become a separate woman to be worshipped, like Semiramis was worshipped in ancient Babylon. So you have a statue of so-called Jesus, a statue of Semiramis, Mary, and then you would have a statue of a cross in between, Tammuz, where now the church would be taken backward into what? Polytheism, the worship of idols. So the thought process in thinking that Christ is God is idolatry, because you're separating them. That's what you're doing. You're separating and you're worshiping them separately. By claiming he's God, you can now take Christ and say, okay, that's God. I'm going to ignore the Most High, and now I'm going to deal with this God. Oh yeah, Mary had Christ through an immaculate conception. So since that was an immaculate conception, she must be a goddess. Acknowledge her as a god. There were people during this so-called transformation, when Christianity was totally infiltrated, that stood against this, like Eusebius. Eusebius came with the records to show Christ's genealogy on both sides, to prove Joseph was his father. And the record is in the Roman Catholic Church, but yet they ignore it. Why? It go against the Babylonian narrative of Semiramis bringing forth Tammuz, which is Nimrod incarnate. All these records, Eusebius, 1st century information, everything I'm saying, the Roman Catholic Church had already, and I teach in the academy. People in the academy know everything I'm saying right now. You have something else, lawyer?
No, sir. No, sir.
So they say, it's sacrilege if you say that Joseph is Christ's father. What are you talking about? Look at the lineages of Luke and the lineages of Matthew. It tell you at the end of all of that, Joseph who begat Jesus. What are you talking about? Are we that delusional that we don't even read anymore? We rather believe something instead of reading it? That's not taken away from Christ's quote unquote divinity, because there's no such thing as divinity. That's something that came under the Romans. Are you questioning Christ's divinity? Show me divinity in the Bible. Christ had power from the beginning, being the first created from the Father, out of the Father. Hold it, get Colossians 1 and 13 real quick.
Colossians chapter 1, verse number 13.
So Eusebius, let me spell this so that pastors out there can get this research that the Jesuits been hiding from you. The Eusebius resolved the controversy of Christ's birth. Between Luke and Matthew, it shows you how to resolve it yourself with the records that were presented to the Romans, yet the Romans ignored it. They were like, no, we need a virgin birth. We don't need no man involved in this, because the pagans are not going to accept that. And I'm going to put the resources out, because right now what we have is a public book burning without you even knowing it. Every book that I'm talking about, when I bring these books out, they're being overpriced out of the market. Number one. Number two, they're making it where you go to a bookstore and say, I want a book. They say, well, no, we only have that on Kindle right now. We have that through Kindle. I'm like, no, I want a real book. Give me a book. Well, we don't. That's out of circulation. It no longer exists anymore. So, brothers and sisters, when I put these books out there, you better get them. You go online and order these books. And guess what? I got something for you today. And guess what? Get them before this is off the press. Before they take it off. The Secret History of the Jesuits. The Secret History of the Jesuits. Get it. Get it. They're trying to hide this information. As a matter of fact, one guy came out. Okay, let me get him here. This one guy came out online, Alberto Rivera, exposing the Jesuits in the 90s, and they put some of his videos up online. You could barely find it now, since Google overtook YouTube. Check that out. The Secret History of the Jesuits. I'm only going to touch on this a little bit in the future. But real quick, since we have about 1,100 people in right now, let me now give you all, give you right now, the channel will be live streaming from starting next week. Okay? Since you all are here real quick, one moment. If you go into your browser you can open up another page with me if you will, right now. If you go to another YouTube page, you can pull it up and type in Gocc Media. MEDIA. Right? It didn't pop up. Oh, there it is. You will see it says the Gocc Media. The Gocc Media. Let me put the link in the chat here, in your chat. Y'all see that link there? That new link is where we'll be streaming from starting next week. The GOCC Media. Okay. Now, on this page, let me give you the playlist of what you'll find on this page. Hold on. Someone says I can stream on A Gathering 144. They gave us our page back. Hold on. Breaking news. I need you all to go and subscribe anyway to the GOCC Media. Because on the GOCC Media, we'll have a playlist of our classic videos, our class videos, and everything will be itemized and separated in a way you can find it easy. History Moment will be our History Moment. We'll give you all 3 times a week. The GOCC Radio will be on there, as well as prepping, arts and crafts, all the things we do, the culture of Israel. We're going to have playlists in which you can go as a one-stop shop for the Gathering of Christ Church. And, of course, our music also will be uploaded weekly on GOCC Media, which means each week you'll have a new song on GOCC Media. So I'm going to put it there again, and you all can actually go there and subscribe there, if you will. One moment here. One moment. Okay. I just found out that they have given us our access to A Gathering 144 again. You know what? You know what, Elder Lawyer? I'm going to show you how the Most High work. If they wouldn't have done this, right? Because they begin to strike our pages for things that for nothing now.
Right.
We comply. Our church complies with all of YouTube rules. So now they'll go find something from 2012 that isn't even lightly treading on anything and strike it, thinking that 2012. Of course, they don't know what they said back then, so I'm just going to strike the page. But I'm going to show you how the Most High work. Because they did that, I know they're watching us and hearing us. We created a GOCC Media page that's really put together on a more sleek level to get to even more people than the A Gathering page. Because it's going to be every day, almost every day will be before the people bringing something. Mm-hmm. Daily. So the Most High still use what they did for good. So don't forget, subscribe to the GOCC Media. That's going to be a main page we're going to use for all our media, music, and everything. Get those. Go there and subscribe immediately. And you hey, who knows? You've probably been unsubscribed from A Gathering 144. Go back there and subscribe there.
Mm-hmm. I just had to subscribe now, and I've been a subscriber, but I had to resubscribe because they kicked me off of subscription. So
Elder Lawyer just said, now Elder Lawyer have to be subscribed to our page, right? Mm-hmm. When he went back to the page again, he had to subscribe again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He was unsubscribed. So if you've been following us on A Gathering 144, go there and check and make sure you subscribe there over and over again. Okay. And guess what? It's not against YouTube rules for you to have more than one page for some of you. If you just dealing with odds and ends, you may have different stuff. If you have 2 pages or whatever, subscribe twice through your other page. Okay. We have to fight. We have to fight them, on every level. Because why? They've come here mainstream to YouTube where the people were, knowing that the battleground is here. There's no better way to go to the byways and the gaps and be in someone's home like this, is it? All right, let's go, Elder Lloyd. Let's finish reading what we have. Oh, yeah. I also wanted to put out, since I made a quick break real quick, that, yes, we will be back for the Academy tomorrow. Lesson 4. What is the lesson, Elder Lawyer?
The seed of promise.
The seed of promise. Showing you that the Most High's promise from the beginning never changed towards his people. We're going to go into Abraham, the angel of the presence that met Abraham. We're going to go into Jacob. We're going to go into the 12 tribes. And we're going to go all the way up into Christ to show you that promise never changed. We're going to also show you how the Jesuits or the theologians try to switch that to claim that the promise is now to spiritual Israelites instead of physical Israelites. Okay? Really doubling down on their hatred towards the Lamb and his people. Tomorrow in the Academy, you don't want to miss it. If you're not a part of it, you don't want to miss it. So we're only week 4. If you enroll, we'll make sure you get the prior 3 weeks you've missed. You don't want to miss this Academy because I tell you, these lessons are on a level like it has never been taught before. We're doing it now, knowing time is short. So if you want to be a part of this, send an email to gatheringas1@aol.com. Okay. Or go to historytimes.org and just enroll right now if you would like, or after the lesson. Do it after the lesson. Historytimes.org, or you got it, gatheringofchrist.org to enroll in the Academy. We're going into what? The promised seed. Who is the promises for according to the Bible? And has that changed according to the Bible? You don't want to miss that. Let's get back in Revelation 13.
All right, Revelation chapter 13, verse number 2.
Come on.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power,
dragon gave him his power. So in a nutshell, John is seeing all the beasts of Daniel under one authority. That means this Roman Catholic Church, or this Rome, the fourth beast, would consolidate the power and the spiritual authority of all the areas they've conquered. Rome is number 1. That's Satan's highest authority religiously on earth. It's over Buddhist. It's higher than Islam. All of that. Because it consolidated all the beast. So that's why there's no threat when America let over Buddhists or let over Muslims. Matter of fact, they'll give an Arab grants to come over here and set up a mosque. Okay, that's why they allow Hamites, which are East Indians, they're Hamites, to come over and set up their Babylonian temples over here. Why? Because the Roman Catholic Church, under their authority, is given to them directly from the dragon. They control all of the other religions. They control Islam. They control Christianity. Speaking of Rome. Now you see why your Christian church won't teach out of Revelation? It's exposing their daddy, their mama. Okay. That whore, that mama from the Roman Catholic Church. That's right. That's the Baptist Church's mammy. And the Pope is your daddy. I don't care how you try to disassociate yourself. We're going to prove it. Come on.
Revelation 12:3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
And all the world wondered after this beast. Her deadly wound was healed. Well, guess what? She was healed as America now. As America. Now let's go into that scarlet colored beast, right? Mm-hmm. Let's go into that scarlet colored beast that's talked about in the book of Revelation.
Revelation chapter 17, verse 1.
Revelation 17:1. Read it.
And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying, Come hither, I will show unto you the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
I'll show you the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Right? There's some type of political provocation goes on in which in the news you will hear that now, the president or the prime minister of England must send out troops to this particular shore to gain peace or to bring some level of peace. No, that's this Bible. This is Bible prophecy when they send people out. Because she sits on many waters. Okay, when Rome or America, because America is only an extension of her, when they send out troops, when do you ever hear about troops? When do you ever hear about them packing up and never leaving again? Once they send their army over there, they setting up base permanently to sit on many waters. I don't care what they tell people, the initial reason for them going there. The Bible tell you why they're going there. If you don't know why, they're going to war, folks, over in countries? These are places they haven't totally consolidated power yet. These are places they haven't gotten to, in which our people are still there, unscathed from the whore or the beast. So they need pretext. They need a scenario to get there so they can push their vaccines and do all types of stuff to kill off God's chosen people. It's not about a dictator, because the majority of the political positions in the earth were set up by them. It has nothing to do about moving a dictator or none of that crap. It's all about getting to our people and killing and destroying them. That has always been the agenda. Okay? So don't buy anything they're selling, folks. Because who suffer from war more so than any people within a war-torn country? The poor. The poor. And we're suffering all over the earth by the hands of these guys. Come on.
Verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
Hold up. The what?
With whom the kings of the earth
the kings of the earth, the leaders of the earth,
have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
With the wine of her fornication. What type of fornication? What's in this cup? It's speaking about spiritual fornication. And guess what? That's right. The same way on the physical level, if you were to drink too much wine, you become drunk, inebriated, unbalanced. Well, they found a way to create a spiritual wine that can do it on the spiritual side. That would make it where you can't walk a straight line or understand where the straight line is. You're drunk. Not physically, but spiritually. See, and this is what John is seeing. So the question is, what's in the Pope's cup? What's in the Pope's cup? Look at the powerful men who bow to the Pope. That's Prince Charles right there. I want you to examine the power of the papacy, where the most fearful, strong political leaders on earth bow. Who gave the Pope that power? Not our God. Not the God of Israel. The beast. See why I don't vote? Read that. What's in the cup? Let's go to Isaiah 29. Let's see what's in that cup.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 9. Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry.
It says, cry ye out and cry. Now, mind you, folks, we're reading in the book of Isaiah now. The prophet Isaiah, who was prophesying, a prophet during the time of our fall to Babylon, to the ancient Babylon. This was before the Roman Catholic Church. Now the Most High is speaking specifically to our people, God's people, before the slave ships, before Rome came into power. Right? So the prophet was prophesying what?
State.
Was prophesying our people becoming drunk. Now we know Rome has the cup. Right? It was prophesied the people, they would aim their poisonous cup towards. In the book of Isaiah, us. This is why, because they know we're religious people. They know we have a spiritual attachment that most cannot understand. So they say, you know what? We need to give them a cup that would now turn their religious understanding into some type of delusion. We need to distract them from their God. Let's set up a pastor and give him a cup. Come to the theologian seminary school and get a sip. Take the whole cup back into your war-torn community to help us further deteriorate and to destroy your people, to further separate your people from their God. Take this paycheck and take this cup. What's in the cup? Read it.
Stay yourselves and wonder. Cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine.
So God said, he's looking down on our people and saying, look at our people. Look at Israel. They're drunken, but not with wine. It's a spiritual wine. It's a wine that would have you question the Most High's laws. Would have you drunken concerning what's morality. What's morality? What's right? What's wrong? How many times, folks, in the world, you do something the night before you had no business doing? And the overall excuse most would use, I think I had a little too much to drink. And that's on the physical side. And because it's used to excuse a certain behavior. Now let's apply that spiritually. If you're spiritually drunk, how that applies. Right? Because I'm drunk, I don't have to celebrate the Passover. I'm covered through the blood of Christ. I was drunk. That's why I celebrated Sunday. I was drunk. That's why my children are doing Halloween. I was drunk. Mm-hmm. See? That's why I'm celebrating Christmas knowing that Christ wasn't born December 25th. Because I'm drunk. See? Same thing. You're using being drunk as an excuse. Same thing, folks. Let's see what's in this cup.
Yes, sir. Finishing off verse 9, it says, they stagger, but not with strong drink.
They're staggering, but not with strong drink. Well, I wonder, this is the poorest people who need their God. These are the people who should find the path to their God, who need it more than any other Gentile on earth. Oh, yeah, I'm struggling. Let me stagger over here into Islam and see if that's the way for me. And the Arabs are saying, Assalamu alaikum. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Let me stagger over here into Judaism and see if that's the way. And then the people over in Judaism are saying, Shalom. Shalom. Mm-hmm. I'm your authority. Yahweh accepts you. Oh, man, let me stagger over here to the Jehovah Witnesses. Let me stagger over here to a Buddhist and put a Buddhist temple, a fat Chinese guy. Okay. And the Bible tell you about a gluttonous, the spirit that's on a gluttonous. So a gluttonous is a demon in itself. So how can I put an overweight fat guy who didn't have no self-control of himself as some point of serenity in my life? A fat Chinese dude. Then you're staggering, looking at, oh, now I feel peace with a fat Chinese guy on my mantelpiece. And the Lord is looking down at you saying, you know what? They're staggering, but not with wine. My people are drunk. They're stinking drunk. This is what Isaiah said. The greatest people on earth. And guess what? And I'm not saying that in a proud manner, folks. It's something in us that all nations envy. Because what? The spirit that's in a child of God is one thing they can't pay for. It's one thing, there's something they can't go to school to get. Mm-hmm. Our patience, our fortitude, our love for our God, our spirit, priceless. And even in our confusion, the power that God gave us, it still illuminates. The other nations still see it. The greatest people on earth, our people are. And using it for what's wrong. And God is looking at them and saying, they drunk. Greatest people on earth. That's why they work night and day to demonize our people. So that they can program us in some Jedi mind trick into believing or becoming their portrayal of us. They know they can, if they put it out there enough, we'll begin to, in our drunken state, act out these negatives. But there's no absolutes anywhere. How can you just portray one image and have people ignorantly believe that's all the people are? I see a guy from South Africa, a guy sent me a clip the other day, who had no prior education and no universities, was able to make one of the greatest cars is better than a Tesla car from Africa. Natural energy. Helicopters and all that. But yet they are trying to do what? They're trying to keep what he created off the market, knowing that it would drive their technology out of here. The technology they're using to actually tax the people. Why? Because they can't have nothing that's totally free to drive. No! Free energy? a black guy from Africa with no prior engineering education like a lot of these guys go to created all this on his own. He said the Most High God showed him in a vision what to do. And he did it. Check that out. Hold up. If y'all think, let me pull it up here. I hope I have it here. One moment. Let me see if I have it. 1 second here. I'll show it this Wednesday on the broadcast. I don't want to divert the lesson. But I'm telling you, our people are special. But we're drunk. If someone asked me, Rakash Yar, what would you say is the answer? Just a starting place for God's people. Man, that's a good question. There's so many areas one would think to direct our people. Say, listen, okay, it's too much to fix at once. If you were to give someone some advice, a first step in the right direction according to what you believe, what would that be? Well, Christ says, I'm the way, the truth, the life. Okay. Here's my answer. We can have a family member. I'm just going to use an example that a lot of us can relate to. We have a family member who has what you would call addictive tendencies. Something is going on where they keep falling back into addictive tendencies, be it drugs, whatever the case is. But you have known that person before the addiction took hold. You remember the strengths in that person, how beautiful and caring they are, and how that addiction have changed them into someone else. Right? And it doesn't matter when the high runs off and they're like, I got to change my life. And you're now speaking to that person you used to know. What do you tell that person? You got to stop. I love you, but this person you become, this thing has a hold on you. So if I had to give one person an advice out there on what step to take first, put down the cup. You have to become who God made you, not who you've been, not the person you've been indoctrinated into. Put down the cup. Because what the Roman Catholic Church has is running interference between us and our God. It's in between it on purpose. I don't care if you're a Baptist. I don't care if you're a Seventh-day Adventist. I don't care if you are a Muslim. I don't care if you are an atheist. Put down the cup. Your spirit came from somewhere. And it's time to connect directly with that spirit that made you. Not someone else's idea of who he is and what he is. It's time for you to connect with him. Put down the cup. See? Walk away. Christ's first mission, before the mission, was separating from all and fasting. Getting that connection before that ministry. Separating so he can get that connection, that total confidence that comes with knowing your God and your path. And then you're ready for the world. Only then are you ready. So my advice wouldn't be, well, listen, follow the Gathering of Christ Church. Join our church. Do that. Nah. Because as far as I'm concerned, I say the more I'm understanding this work and understanding what it entails, the reality for me, less is better. Mm-hmm. The more people, Not that I don't care. I take it on as a teacher. But the whole thing is, folks, the more people, the more heartache. So I'm not into this thing of saying, well, listen, follow me because I'm the way. I'm not the way. Christ is the way. But you must first unplug. You must first put down that cup. I'm going to show you what's in that cup. Read it.
Isaiah chapter 29, verse 10. For the Lord hath poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep.
The spirit of deep sleep. So what's in the cup? Sleep. So if I'm sleep, right? Think about it, folks. What am I sleep to? God says what? In the book of Isaiah. He said, my people. He wasn't speaking about the Romans. He wasn't speaking about the East Indians, the Hamites, or the Egyptians. He was speaking about us. Our people are asleep. Now, what do you sleep to? Well, Christ said, well, I've come for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Right? So you sleep to the knowledge of yourself. Now, you know within that you're something special, that there's something special about our people. Something is going on with our people right now that no other people on earth can relate to. When you look at our neighborhoods and all that, I don't see that happening in European countries in the numbers that I see in America. And I've been all over the world. It's an anomaly what's going on with our people. A consolidation of straight immorality, hatred, drug dealing, filthiness going on. But yet in the midst of all that, the Most High has brought out righteous, caring, loving. It's like, it's a jambalaya of total confusion. Righteousness and all that comes out of it. But you cannot find the ghettos that we see in our communities amongst any other people the same. Because if somebody woke up already and you're fully woke, you're getting your day going. You're ordering things, you're putting things in order, you're going to work, you're coming home, you're taking your children. I'm speaking of from a physical sense. But if you go into our neighborhoods, someone is sleeping. Okay? Whoever put that plan together is sleep. No order, no respect, no civility, the threat of death on a regular basis, killing babies, aborting our own children, our own prodigy and future, immorality, perversions. Someone is asleep at the helm, isn't it? And you know who it is? The priest. See, it's too much to fix on the lower levels. But the Most High said, listen, I'm going to judge the priests for this because it was their responsibility to keep the community in order. It was their responsibility. So if the Most High was to come down and look at North Philly, look at Chicago, what's going on in the inner cities in Chicago, he's not just going to look at the people. He's going to be like, yo, where are the preachers at? Where are the pastors at? Mm-hmm. I entrusted you to save these people. And it's blood everywhere. Every child that died in your community that belonged to your church, that's your blood, pastor. You're asleep. You've made immorality, perversion, degradation. You've made it a business. You've turned it into something that can financially aggrandize you. Blood. See? Blood. So when the Most High talks about his people in Jeremiah 23, he do what? He addressed the priests. Malachi, the 3rd chapter, he addressed the priests. And that's why today we are addressing the dark ministers of Christianity, their overlords, the controller of all churches, all religious sects on earth. Go back to Revelation.
Revelation chapter 17, verse number 3.
Come on.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, having names of blasphemy.
Having names of blasphemy. That's a red beast. Edom. Blasphemy. That means when it comes to the law, statutes, and commandments written of in the Bible, this particular beast would teach to do the exact opposite. The exact opposite. Oh, Passover, what's that? Celebrate the God that's a star. We're going to call it Easter. Oh, you like that Jesus guy? Yeah, we'll throw him in there too. We'll say he rose on Easter Sunday. Huh? You want that? They go your Jesus. Now celebrate the goddess Ashtoreth. Blasphemy. There's no honor under the Roman Catholic Church. And I'm speaking of its hierarchy. There's no honor. I mean, what type of honor you have when you can go shoot up somebody or kill somebody in a neighborhood and go to a pedophile somewhere and say, sitting behind in a closet somewhere that's not written of in the Bible, and sitting there looking at him on the other side of the mesh and say, Father, I have sinned. What type of honor is that? Father, I have sinned. What have you done, my child? Well, I've killed some people. I've sold drugs to the Negroes or the other N word, and I've killed people. And we chopped up this and we buried this and that and any other, and I need to be absolved. Son, you have sinned. Do 30 Hail Marys. Do 30 Hail Marys, and I'm going to slide you a bank account number, and your sins have been forgiven. Huh? What? Your sin? Who are you, dude? Your sins have been forgiven. That's how you know it's blasphemous. When now this murderer can leave with a clear conscience after speaking to what? Another murderer or pedophile. Think about this, folks. That's blasphemy. See, no longer will I focus on our people in the neighborhoods who are just puppets to the dark, or what they call the black pope theology. All the theology taught in the Christian church comes from the black pope, Jesuits. It's the Jesuits' ideology, mainly Ignatius Loyola's ideology, that's in the cup of the whore. That's in the cup of the whore. Right? Let me give you a picture of Ignatius Loyola, the devil himself. The devil himself is there. The black pope. You can find him around the 15th, 16th century. Around the same time, the Roman Catholic Church began to promote this devil over here, Cesare Borgia, the second son of Alexander VI, Pope of Rome. All of these guys were around the same. Well, this guy, Cedric Borgia, was 1400s, mid 1400s, late 1400s. And then Ignatius Loyola, the Black Pope, the father of all Jesuits, came in subsequent to him. And he would do what? He would streamline the new Christianity. The conquered would have to bow to from one shore to the next. From one land to the next, they would bring the ideology of this devil, Ignatius Loyola. Okay? Ignatius Loyola. Let me read something on this dude. Read right there, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. It says Saint Ignatius of Loyola was a Spanish Basque Catholic priest and theologian.
A Catholic priest and a what?
Theologian.
And a theologian. Now, until this day, folks, there's an Ignatius of Loyola University. A university of devils. Right? So he came with what? A theology, a philosophy, separate from Christ's doctrine, sanctioned from the Roman Catholic Church. This devil at the top here. Evil, wicked, right? So don't think of T.D. Jakes. If you want to know the philosophy that created T.D. Jakes, it's this devil right here at the top. And his doctrine at the top is enforced from one pope to the next. Till this day. Now, so when you see certain books like Left Behind, right? Who's the two dark lords, Elder Lawyer?
Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins.
Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins, who came up with the Left Behind doctrine, showing people disappearing in the 80s and all that, in the 90s, when all the black churches started teaching that. These are two Jesuits teaching a false ideology. The guy that's behind the Purpose-Driven Life, Jesuit, right? Even till this day, right? We had a Jesuit seek me out with no prior conversations initially at all. What's his name again? The guy I had a so-called quote unquote 2 debates with.
Talking about James White.
James White. He graduated from Loyola, that university. James White, Jesuit. When you hear the word apologetic or apologist, make sure you pull out this information on them that I'm bringing you right now. Guess who continued in the vein of the apologists and ideology they're pushing? The devil, Ignatius of Loyola. The devil that the Roman Catholic Church calls a saint. Are y'all seeing this? When you see those like Hagee, the so-called right-wing minister, Jesuit, Jim Jones of the Guyana tragedy, who took all of black people, all of our people over there to quote unquote drink the Kool-Aid, Jesuit. Jesuit. I'm going to show you how deep that is. We use some of the excerpts from Jim Jones's videos on the expose or the exposing of Guyana tragedy, news circulations for educational purposes, and our channel was blocked for bringing out the truth of Jim Jones. First of all, he was a known pervert. Okay. Bisexual. Didn't really read out of the Bible at all. His whole agenda was to lure our people over that was purchased, land that was purchased through people of the Jewish sect. That was actually, folks, a beta CIA test on our people. Our people who are drunken with the wine. So I don't know. I don't understand what's wrong with our people where you can see that that was a cult and it could not have happened without government sponsorship. How can someone just pick up some black people or white man and take them somewhere without government approval? Jesuit. But no way they could have done this if our people weren't drunken with the wine. If we weren't the lost sheep of the house of Israel with no idea of our true gospel, true understanding. Only a Christian, a delusional Christian, could follow some white pervert someplace. We pulled out I'll tell you this. And we was only up for about 10, 15 minutes before they blocked our channel. And that told me right there, you know what? We must have pressed a serious vein in YouTube land. Because what we were showing was this guy who called himself Gabriel the Angel, who's concentrating on linking in with people who's following the gathering of Christ Church to go to some land somewhere for tabernacle. And we were showing that it's our same ignorant people will follow a white guy anywhere, not realizing he could be used by the government. He can be really created in one of these nut shops they have that they call a convent, or not a convent, what they call an asylum, a crazy house. They create these nut jobs and send them into these institutions and all that, like Manchurian candidates. So they had one aimed towards people who were following the Gathering of Christ Church, and this dude claimed that he was the angel Gabriel. And I was showing people the comparison to Jim Jones and how they create people like that. Our channel was blocked. Who's behind this? The Jesuits, folks. You got a guy following Israelites that work nowhere. He don't have no money. No one know where he works. But he has enough money from Phoenix, Arizona to travel from state to state following Israelites. Who's funding him? How did this guy show up on the same set as James White during the so-called debate? How was he able to find out where Israelites are everywhere and pop up just randomly at different camps and link behind the scenes to everything that's Israelites? Folks, I'm telling you, when I read this book, The Secret History of the Jesuits, I'm like, you know what? They're working right now. They're doing what they always do behind closed doors. They'll pay a low-level shield to instigate, to cause the issue, to press the issue. And the target will always be our people. When have you begun to care about black people? Huh? While our people suffering in the ghettos. Now you care about our people because they're following the truth of who we are now, according to the Bible. Now you care about blacks. They don't care. This truth is in the way, folks. God is calling God's people out of these idolatrous temples. And I'm going to tell you this right now, folks. I thank the Most High for it. I'm just here to warn you all so that you'll understand the dark ministers behind Christianity. We're going to touch on them. Elder Lawyer, before you read that, I need you to read something for me. Now, there's a guy that used to be right here online by the name of Alberto Rivera, who was an ex-Jesuit. And he began through history. He began to do the research on the sect he was a part of. His information and all those who realize what the Jesuits are from its inception was compiled in this book. World War I, World War II, who actually propped up Hitler for a certain agenda against other races? Jesuits. They don't work just with the religious side of Christianity. They work on every form of political control in the earth. They have what? You got it. They have a minister over every faction of society. And right now they're focusing on Israelites. Why? Because this is the one thing they can't control. They already have control of all the Christian churches in our communities. But this is one thing they had no hand in creating. They created the Baptist church. They created the Seventh-day Adventists. They created Charles Taze Russell with the Jehovah's Witnesses. Through their Masonic temples, they created the religions that are destroying our people in our communities today. But they had nothing to do with Israelites rising from the graves. Our God did this. I need you to read this. Start at the top there. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
It says here, a 19th century writer, Adolphe Michel, recalled that Voltaire estimated the number of works published over the years on the Jesuits to be about 6,000. What number have we reached a century later? Concluded Adolphe Michel. Immediately. No matter. As long as there are Jesuits.
As long as there are Jesuits, which are the dark pope factions of the Catholic Church. Read.
Books will have to be written against them.
Books would have to be written against them. Most people in our neighborhoods don't even know what a Jesuit is. They're the ones that are behind the ideology in your theologian schools, starting with Ignatius of Loyola. So when you go to a theologian school, you're learning the ideology that was made to put us to sleep. It's the lies in the cup. It disconnects us from our God, and by default have the Gentiles, the Edomites, the other nations, by default becomes our what? Handlers. They become our controllers. See that? Read down here. There's another reason.
There's another reason as good as the one mentioned. At the same time as new generations of readers come,
new generations of
Jesuits come to light.
New generations of Jesuits come to light. So the Roman Catholic Church create those. They are initiated into a fraternity from one generation to the next, and they're usually initiated through the universities in the earth. right? They get initiated. They do small jobs like that low jack that's running around following Israelites right now. They do little leg work like that, and then they work their way up. See? Read.
And these work today with the same torturous and tenacious methods.
With the torturous and tenacious methods. They're ruthless. Read.
Which so often in the past set to work the defensive reflexes of nations and governments.
So their whole point is to do what? Be in control and make governments that may oppose the Catholic Church and their political system unstable. So yes, the CIA, the British intelligence, Mossad, all that was created out of Jesuit. Go on.
It says here, the sons of Loyola.
The sons of Loyola, like your theologian lieutenants, read.
Are today.
They're your Tim LaHaye's. They're the guys writing the books. They're the people propping up Oprah. They're the people propping up T.D. Jakes. Create a flow of dollars. And now they've come from behind the shadows. Why? Because the black controllers no longer have hold on the poor community. Come on.
As well, if not better disguised than of old, they remain the most eminent ultramontanes, the discreet but efficacious agents of the Holy See throughout the world, the camouflage champions of its politics, the secret army of the papacy.
The secret army of the papacy of the Roman Catholic Church. Who control the political spectrum? Well, John was shown that on the Isle of Patmos in Revelation 13, Revelation 17. All power is consolidated from Rome. The CIA, Mossad, MIA, MI6, all the intelligence agencies, as well as over the militaries, as well as over all forms of religious control. That's right. From one generation to the next, the Pope elects a black Pope. If one die, they'll replace him. The black Pope is over all the things I've just mentioned, and their key point of emphasis is keeping our people down until extermination. We're their key focus because they know, Esau knows, that the end of his world is the beginning of ours. And Christ is setting us free. It's through the blood of Christ we're being made free. See, and this is our position as teachers on the earth, to help facilitate this work, to help push this work, so that our people, our brothers and sisters, can see the ministry of Christ like it was before the Gentiles came and destroyed us. There's more. Elder Lawyer, I need you to read, start with the Roman Catholic Church.
It says here, the Roman Church couldn't give up the great purpose which has been her goal from the beginning.
What was her goal from the beginning? We're going to show you that out of the Bible. Read.
To gather under her crozier all the nations.
To gather all the nations.
Of the universe.
Of the universe. So the Roman Catholics' agenda under Satan, shown to John on the Isle of Patmos, was to gather all nations of people under Rome's power. Well, that's an issue, isn't it? Why is that an issue? Because Christ was prophesied to do that. To have all nations under his power. But the Antichrist is looking to consolidate and bring all nations under their power first. See? Now, in order for them to do this, there's one people that must go. The 12 tribes of Israel must be killed off or exterminated altogether in order for this plan, under the Luciferian doctrine, in order for this plan to be accomplished. Because there cannot be one male child left of the children of Israel in this agenda. Why? Because the rulership is prophesied, the universal rulership is between two children, Jacob and Esau. So he would join all the nations together, speaking of the Roman Catholic Church, give them power to destroy us. So now you see why the other nations come into our neighborhoods and destroy us, and they get more being from someplace else than those that have been there for generations? Now you see, the plan is working fine according to the Jesuits. Our priests have sold out, so we have no spiritual protection. Our pastors have sold out. And now the children of Israel are open prey. See? They're going to let the doctors in to give us cancers. They're going to let them in, the nurses in to vaccinate us. They will exterminate. They will tie tubes. They will kill us off because that's the plan. They will have us abort our babies like in Egypt. And they'll have the pastors twiddling their thumbs the whole time while the community go to hell in a handbasket. Huh? And you know what peeved them off more so than anything? Is that we don't call on Jesus because we know Jesus is Zeus. That they know that it's Ahiah, the God who freed the children of Israel out of Egypt, have sent forth the Spirit through his angels to begin to release the children of Israel from our sleep. We're stomping on the cup. We're spilling that crap in the cup and coming back to the law, statutes, and commandments and our Bible. And guess what? The Jesuits, the authority, cannot stand it because they have no authority here. I heard they reached out not too long ago and want to debate us again, right? They want to debate us on something. And you know what I'm going to tell them? Go kick rocks. Because you're running interference. We're taking our people back. You're not our focus. We're not going to debate none of them cats unless they come in to get baptized first. And you're not going to be debated. You're going to be taught. Okay, you're beneath the knowledge of Christ and our prophets. You're beneath it. You're in the way. While we're focusing on you, there's another soul that's dying in our communities. So we're gonna call these cats out by exposing their overlords. And we're gonna continue, the Most High will continue to convert our people out of your Babylonian temples, out of your churches. That's our win. That's our jobs. Is to free our people from their captive state, from their delusions that they could only learn under what? The dark pope's theology. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
It says, this monumental mission must go on, whatever happens, amongst pagans as well as amongst separated Christians.
So the objective of the papacy, using the dark pope, which is the Jesuit, is to control the pagans as well as who?
As well as amongst separated Christians.
As well as Christians. So Loyola's plan here, folks, let me put the devil back up here for you. This devil's plan right here, executed through the Pope, was not just to control the pagans, that the Romans were, whom the Romans are, but to control those in the separate Christian churches. That's their job. Read.
The secular clergy having the duty to hold the acquired position, which is quite arduous nowadays, it is up to certain regular orders to increase the flock of the faithful by converting the heretics and pagans, a work more arduous. The duty is to preserve or acquire, to defend or attack, and at the front of the battle, there is that mobile force of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits.
The Jesuits. Go on.
Properly speaking, this society is not secular, nor regular in terms of its constitution, but a kind of subtle company intervening where and when it is convenient.
So it comes in when it's convenient. It'll stay in the back until their puppets of control no longer has authority or force or influence. So they'll lay back and watch what's going on in our communities. And by examining the bottom line, when they start to see our people leaving and the bottom line isn't getting up to daddy and mommy like it used to, then that's when you'll begin to see Jesuits. They'll come out and say, oh yeah, you want to come on and debate? Huh? Or they'll start sending out these white guys who are we know who they are, synagogue of Satan, to start chasing Israelites all over the place. Because why? They feel the black pastors are no longer useful. They're useless to them now. So you're going to see more of this. You're going to see more of people now following Israelites and coming out trying to do stories on Israelites and all that. These are Jesuit agendas that only kick in. It only kicks in when they begin to lose control in our communities. When the taskmasters no longer can control us, you're going to start seeing it. You're going to start seeing them come up with all these felonious stories that don't make sense in the media. Like what happened in England and all that. You're going to start seeing that. Where the story really don't make sense. A lot of it doesn't make sense. But they're going to do anything to demonize Israelites. Right? And like I said last Wednesday, we don't want no story out. You can't say nothing about us religiously. Why? Look how many people you're killing and destroying. Like Robert Kraft, that he runs a football team right now. And he was up for sex trafficking, not just last Super Bowl, but no one related his sexual innuendos and sexual, habits to what synagogue he belongs to. Okay, and I put that out there last Wednesday. Don't come to us some crap. Well, Israelites, some girl died. What church she go to have to do with what happened? When have you start relating the heinous crimes in our communities to what church they go to? When our people are shooting people up every day in the neighborhood, no one says, well, it's because he went to that Baptist church. It's because she went to that Baptist church that happened to her. So we're not even buying that garbage, because if they could prove that Israelites was behind anyone killing somebody, they would have had the leader of that organization on trial. This is Jesuit deception, folks. It's Jesuits. It's Jesuits. Jack the Ripper. What synagogue did he belong to? Jeffrey Dahmer. Epstein. Molestation Island. All the people that went out to Molestation Island. What church did they go to? What synagogue were they a part of? Children gone missing over there near Parliament a few years ago. They found a dead girl who was abused and thrown right there in front of the palace in England a few years ago. What religion is that? What Catholic church did they go to? So I'm putting this out there, folks, so that our people being asleep and ignorant don't fall for it. Because they're only doing this to demonize our people against us. Jesuits. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer.
It says, the duty is to preserve or acquire, to defend or attack, and at front of the battle, there is that mobile force of the Society of Jesus, or the Jesuits.
The Jesuits.
Properly speaking, this society is not secular nor regular in terms of its constitution.
Come on.
But a kind of subtle company intervening where and when it is convenient.
So it intervenes when it's convenient. They'll pop up.
In the church and outside the church.
In the church and outside the church. And this is what I'm going to tell even all the brothers and sisters in our Gathering of Christ church. And I'm going to put this out there right now. And I'm going to say it amongst the elders. If you see that guy popping up that's following Israelites, understand that you are to ignore him. Don't say nothing to him. If he asks questions, let him know. Listen, anything within 2 feet of me, anything outside of 2 feet is aggression. So you're going to have to shout while I ignore you. I'm going to take anything. Well, can I speak to you? All you have to say to them, brothers and sisters, anything within 2 feet is aggression. So, would you like to threaten me? That's it. Because they're going to come out. They're going to send provocateurs. They're going to try to provoke scenarios, situations. And if you see these guys, ignore them. And they'll usually find some faction that they know. Some young guys somewhere who aren't too savvy and guys who might say something that would criminalize them. They usually seek these out as the example of who to pick on. Okay? They sit down in their offices and they'll pull up YouTube and say, yo, where those guys at? I'm going to pop up there. He just said that. I'm going to pop up there and ask him this question. This guy's just waiting to say that he's going to rape something or hurt something. And we're going to have that. We're going to chronologize that as the example of Israelites. Because why? We're losing. Let me make it clear. We don't promote aggression, but we do promote self-defense. Okay? We promote self-defense. Which means if someone is threatening or coming up to harm us, we ought to protect ourselves. Okay?
And to make that clear also, we're not saying get into physical confrontation, because these are things that, you know, if you're dealing with provocation or someone is looking for provocation, then they would rather you physically fight them, because that makes their case all the much stronger.
Exactly. If I got on tape, because we have to make sure every time, that's why they don't come to our camps. I mean, we don't have a camp, our teachings. All right. They don't come out and mess with us, because why? Everything must be filmed if we're in public. So if I told you within 2 feet, anything I deem outside of my invite is aggression, and it's on tape, those Jesuits have enough understanding to know what that means being filmed. Okay? They understand that, because that's the way we'll avoid confrontation. Because these guys are savvy. They see the cameras there. So you know what he's going to do? He's going to stay 2 feet away. Because it's filmed. And if he get between, now if he come closer, be like, well, okay, we already warned the guy. Excuse me, let's get the authorities on the line. Right now, we're being threatened. Let's call the cops. This guy came up. I don't know where he coming from, but all I know is he's a stalker, and we need to get the cops involved. And we'll let the police beat him down. Okay? That's the way they do a good job on us, don't they? So, put our tax paying dollars to use. Let them know you got 2 feet, you're being ignored. Unless you want some water. You want to be baptized? Kick rocks. All right? And that would be my suggestion, even though, we have a different belief than other brothers who know they're Israel. I'm putting it out there that if they see this, they should do the same for self-preservation. If these guys come around, understand that it's not because they're in defense of any gospel. They're harmful. They're evil. They're wicked. They're demented. And if they're not there to convert, tell them to kick rocks. Get out of here. You're not going to lure me into a Jesuit joust. Okay? Let's go.
It says here, but a kind of subtle company intervening where and when it's convenient in the church and outside the church. In short, the agent most skillful, most preserving.
Oh, let me get this devil out of here. Come on.
The agent most skillful, most persevering, most fearless, most convinced of the papal authority.
So now their agents are what?
It says most fearless.
They're fearless.
Most convinced.
They're convinced
of the papal authority.
Of the papal authority.
As wrote one of its best historians. We will see how this body of janissaries was formed, what service without price it rendered the papacy. We will see also how so much effectual zeal was to make it indispensable to the institution it served, exerting such an influence over it that its general was named with good reason the Black Pope.
Its general was named the Black Pope. So when you think of the Pope, you think of who? You think of guys like this. But no, this political structure is way broader than just the guy in white or the guy in red, which is the demonic Babylonian priest here. No. They have what you would call a dark pope. Okay? He's more so what you would call in a mafia, because that's what the Roman Catholic Church is. He's the enforcer. Speaking of the Black Pope, of the ideology of the Pope. He's the enforcer. So he comes up with all these tentacles to keep the machine moving flawlessly. He comes up with religious control and ideologies through Christianity to control Christians. Who created Jehovah's Witnesses? Jesuits. Seventh-day Adventists? Jesuits. I don't care what front people they put in front of you. Baptists? Jesuits. Jim Jones? Jesuits. Okay, that's right. The modern day Protestants. There haven't been Protestants on the earth since the death of King James. Jesuits is over the Protestants today. Okay? Jesuits. Get that to you in your minds. Get this book, folks, before it's out of circulation. Actual quotes, excerpts, and references is in this book. You can follow their crummy little breadcrumbs, their death crumbs. From the time of Cesar Borgia, from the time of Cesar Borgia to our present time. It's the Jesuits that's enforcing this devil we see on our screen right now. That devil there, Cesar Borgia. It's the Jesuits who began to place this guy in our churches, in our homes during slavery, so that we can call this devil here, Cesar Borgia, Jesus or God. Now you see why Our focus shouldn't be the puppets in our communities. The black churches, they're just low-end cupbearers of the delusion. More, Elder Lawyer. Matter of fact, history moments on the GOCC media, you'll get the rest of this. But let's go into the Bible real quick. Stay in Revelation. Let's go.
Revelation chapter 17, verse number 4.
Come on.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls.
Now, who's arrayed in purple and scarlet? Those are the colors of the Roman Catholic priest. That's right. At the Vatican. They have purple and red garments. Come on.
Having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations.
Full of what?
Abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
When it says abomination and filthiness, it's speaking of the indoctrination or the doctrine of Babylon. The lie on how Christ was born came from the Roman Catholic Church. When there's proof of his birth. The genealogies from David all the way down through his fathers outside of Mary. Okay, we have the proof. I'm going to type it in right now. Eusebius. That's the book. Get the book Eusebius before they take that out of circulation. And look at how Eusebius brought proof to the Romans of Christ's bloodline on Joseph's side, but was denied. Why? Because the Romans, before Christ was born, was following what? You got it. A virgin Madonna who brought forth a child from ancient Babylon. We got all the proof, folks. Biblical and otherwise. Or even if you don't want to read the Eusebius, go to the book of Matthew and see who's the father of Christ. In the book of Matthew. It says it right there. Go to the book of Luke and see what name is at the end of the fathers before Christ was born. Joseph's name is on both. So we're not making anything up. We understand that word virgin has many definitions according to the Bible. Virgin means maiden, whether she have had sex or not in the Hebrew. Huh? Did you know that? So join the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Keep in mind what they're trying to show through this misrepresentation of Christ's birth is to first uphold the virgin birth of Nimrod, Tammuz, and Semiramis. To uphold that first. And second, knowing that if Christ doesn't have a genealogy or bloodline, that means what? He didn't die for a particular people with no bloodline. Okay? You can only receive the promises through the fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So if they take away the father's line, like they're taking fathers out of the house today, the children are left without inheritance. You better join that academy. The books are open, the precepts are open, and guess what? We're destroying the lies from the black pope, from the theologian schools. The way they teach the virgin birth is part of the wine that's in the cup from the papacy. It's idolatry the way they're teaching that. Because you must now acknowledge her being a goddess, a woman above all women who can have babies without men. Let's go.
Revelation chapter 12, the rest of verse 4. Having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
So what's in her cup? Filthiness. We can't accept anything the Roman Catholic Church is talking about. We can't accept nothing that the theologian church is speaking about. Why? It was shown to John on the Isle of Patmos that what's in the cup is filthy lies. Filthy lies are in their cup. What have the Christian church ever taught us that benefited us? What? Name me one thing the Christian church have taught in our communities that benefited our people. One thing. Well, they told us that Jesus is Lord and it's through his blood. Yeah? Who you talking about, this guy? That through his blood? Because this is the Jesus they gave you. Cesar Borgia. Get out of those churches, folks. Dark lords, sorcerers, and why do you think one of the main tenets, as if it's a commandment in the churches, is you can't judge? Only a wicked soul would use that in defense. Only someone that's looking to do wicked and evil would have that as their banner. You can't judge. So what are you doing up in here? What are you doing up in here where judgment is void, where judgment isn't needed? Why are you so afraid of judgment up in here? Because why? The doctrine enforces evil and excuse wickedness against God. It's against God's law. It's against the Bible. Only someone wicked and evil ever so often would have that as if it's a commandment. You can't judge. What's wrong with judgment? Unless you're doing something wicked and evil up in there. Come on, let's go.
Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints.
So the woman is drunken with what?
The blood of the saints.
The blood of the saints. The Romans destroyed our people. They're not the saints. The Pope doesn't have authority to give anyone the title of saint. We're the saints of the Most High. We're the saints. So no sooner as Christ was killed and the disciples were killed, yes, killed by the Romans, they continued their carnage and destruction against our people till this day, like it was prophesied in Revelation 12. So you expect them to teach you the truth of Christ's gospel? Huh? You expect them to teach you the truth of this Bible? When they have set up philosophers to deter you from its content. Philosophical breakdowns now. Through philosophy in theologian schools, they teach the Bible now. So they become drunken by what? The blood of the saints. No sooner as our forefathers fell in Jerusalem in 70 AD, the Romans gained full authority of the church and turned Christ's church upside down and made it pagan all over again in the name of Christ. Like he warned us in Matthew 24. He said they would do it. Come on.
Verse number 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yeshua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
I wondered with great admiration. Now the Lord Christ, our Savior Yeshua, is showing John the Roman authority right here. He wondered with admiration. Now, they would conquer us in Africa, different parts of the Middle East where our people fled to, in African countries. The areas they couldn't get to, they did what? They began to knight the Arabs under Islam, which is no different than the Catholic Church for the Middle East. They begin to give knighthood and authority to the Muslim to do the same to us also. That's right. Islam is financed by the Roman Catholic Church, and it's Jesuit controlled. Okay? Because if you just go to the Jewish part, they'd rather you focus there. Nah. There's a higher control than under Judaism. Jesuits are controlling them too. Okay? Jesuits are over them too. Jesuits are over Islam, they're over Judaism, and they're over Christianity. Okay? Let's go.
Verse number 7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which have the 7 heads and 10 horns.
Come on.
The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and shall go into perdition.
And shall go into perdition, read.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is.
And it says the beast that was and is not, but yet is. So that would confuse most people. The beast that was and is not, but yet is. Well, in order for you to understand this, right? Because I know a lot of you are confused reading this, right? You have to understand the time period John the Revelator received this revelation. It was right after Christ's death. About mid first century. Right? So the beast that is during John's time is what? Rome. Right? So we know that beast is Rome. Because that's the beast that exiled John to the Isle of Patmos, where John received his revelations. Right? Now, to reveal what? To reveal the end. So we must understand the mystery of this whore. The beast that was and is. So it's Rome, but it was. It was when? Oh, under Babylon. It was the same pagan religion of Babylon. So Esau isn't creating a new religion under Rome. He's just rebranding an old religion from Babylon. So it was and is. So Rome would celebrate the same holy days as ancient Babylon. Lent is a Babylonian holy time. The 40 days of Lent, that had nothing to do with Christ. They try to claim, oh, Christ fasted for 40 days. No, that 40 days of Lent is from Babylon, where the priestesses, the virgin priestesses, would get initiated during that period of ancient Babylon. And the convent of being separated from men and all that. And these women that join convents that are nuns, they're not virgins. They have all types of ritual parties. That's right. Physical, ritual, sexual parties and all that to bring forth children for sacrifice. That's ancient Babylonia. Huh? Oh, you didn't know that? They tore down the Catholic Church in Philadelphia about, 12 years ago? And they found dead babies, skulls, and all that in the bottom of the church. With these holy saint nuns that were over your children at Catholic school. Huh? Hey, I was raised in Philadelphia. One of the most celebrated so-called founding fathers in Philadelphia is known as Ben Franklin. Hey, they went to Ben Franklin's house over there in England. He had a place in France, right? And guess what? They found in his basement, children of bones, baby bones being sacrificed. And he was also a high initiate in the Hellfires Club of England. All of these have Jesuit connections, folks. And that's why she's called the mother of harlots. She's the brain, speaking of the Roman Catholic Church, of all these little harlot churches that came out of her in America. You think they'll allow a black man in America to set up an independent church outside of their ideology? Are you crazy? Oh, you think TD Jakes really have control? They have power. You think Creflo Dollar have power and control? Who's their daddy? Lawyer? The prosperity guy.
What's this guy's name? I know you have Oral Roberts. You have, what's this guy's name?
Oral Roberts was one. But who's the guy under Oral Roberts? He was what? Jesuit. Who created Creative Flow of Dollars in TD Jakes? Kenneth Copeland, Jesuit. Why do you think Kenneth Copeland just kicked back and really don't do much anymore? He got his sons out there dancing the jig. Who created TD Jakes? Who created Kenneth Copeland? I mean, who created TD Jakes and Creative Flow of Dollars? Kenneth Copeland, Jesuit. A black knight under the Jesuit reign, under the Jesuits' power. These are your black controllers, folks. Because why? They need a taskmaster. They need someone like us who can influence more than they can. It's only so far a white guy can go in getting our finances without us examining it, weird or like, hold up, you was a slave master not too long ago. You can't have all mine, right? So what they did was they started using proxies looking like us to rake in the dough. Now Israelites are on every corner all around the earth influencing our people. And you know what? That bottom line is going down. So the Jesuits are looking at their taskmasters like, what? You can't keep these Negroes under control? Let's send out our Jesuits. Let's stalk Israelites now. Come on, let's go.
Revelation 17, verse 8.
Yeah.
The beast that thou sawest was and is not and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit.
And shall do what?
Ascend out of the bottomless pit.
Ascend out of the bottomless pit, Rick.
And go into perdition.
And go into perdition.
And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life.
And guess what? Their names are not written in the book of life. So if they're not going to make it into the kingdom of heaven, folks, how can they be over theology or the doctrine of Christ within the earth? How can we trust them if their name isn't written in the book of life? See, but the problem is the Christian churches don't teach revelation and they don't expose the Catholic Church in its entirety. Why? Well, it's hard for a Christian church to expose the Catholic Church, but still hold the ideology of it. Because you'll be exposing yourself. Because if you say the Catholic Church is wrong, then the people are going to ask you, Pastor, well, the Catholic Church Here's the records in the Nicene Creed and other areas where the same Catholic Church sanctioned Sunday as a day of worship. It was the Catholic Church that sanctioned Christmas as a day to be worshiped for Christ's birthday. It was the Catholic Church that's teaching that Christ is God. So you cannot denounce the Catholic Church, your mommy and your daddy, without denouncing yourself. That's why. Check that out. That's why Christian churches are united and try to speak against Israelites. But why aren't you talking about your mommy, the Catholic Church? Huh? All right. So I'll tell you what. You want to follow Israelites? You want to stalk Israelites? You want to troll our people, God's people? Go on. We're going to expose you and every lie you have taught to our people. Go on. Do the devil's work while we do God's. Come on, let's go.
Verse number 9. And here is the mind which have wisdom.
Here's the mind that has wisdom.
The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth.
Rome, 7 hills.
And there are 7 kings which are fallen, and one is, and the other is not yet come.
Speaking of America, it's not speaking of individual kings. It's speaking of empires. Read.
And when he cometh, he must continue a short space.
Speaking of America.
And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition.
Will go into perdition. So eventually that last beast will be destroyed, that was made out of Rome. And we know America was made out of Rome, according to the book of Daniel, out of 3 horns. France, Spain, and Great Britain. 3 of the 10 made your new Rome, or the daughter of Babylon, called America today. And all of her churches is peddling that chalice, that cup, that of lies that we spoke about in Revelation 13 and Isaiah 29th chapter, that have the people staggering. And by sipping on this cup, it turns believers into atheists. Because you got to be crazy to believe that crap they've been teaching us. That crap they're teaching us in the Christian church isn't the Bible. So when people begin to know better and study the word, they begin to say, hold up, I've been lied to. And now, instead of you blaming the Jesuits, the liars, the deceivers, you begin to take it out on God by not believing no more, or claim the Bible's tampered with, when these people never taught the Bible. Now, the Jesuits has won. You done walked away from the book, which was the plan the whole time of them, to separate us from our God. Read on.
Verse 12. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith,
so at the end of this, the whole earth is consolidated into a military one world order against Christ himself on the way back to save us. That's the battle of Armageddon the Bible speaks of. Okay, so these same people that have instituted and have set up institutions, colleges, and churches with false theology that have always destroyed our people, these are the same people that are working in the background with Satan to build a military force to fight against the second coming. See that? Let's go to 2 Corinthians 11 chapter.
2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse number 13. For such are false apostles.
For such are what?
False apostles.
For such are false apostles,
Deceitful workers.
deceitful workers.
Transforming themselves into the apostles of Christ.
So we had the Romans transform themselves into the apostles of Christ. So now you must question the authority of the so-called Holy Fathers or the second century fathers in which the Catholic Church and the Christian church is honored today. You must question all those that are chosen to be honored under the Catholic Church. These were the false apostles Christ warned us about in Matthew 24, and that Paul is speaking about now. He was speaking of once Jerusalem is sacked, the Edomites gaining position and changing the truth into a lie, which happened under the Roman Catholic Church. Read.
Verse 14. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
And no marvel that Satan himself has transformed into what?
An angel of light.
Why? Because Christians today and many other religions are upholding this Jesus they're praying to as our Lord and Savior. So no marvel that the spirit that was behind this false image would be upheld at the very end as God on earth. He's the angel of light now. He's the truth for Christians, not the Christ who died on a stake for our sins. Satan has replaced Christ. And that's what happens when you follow what? Christian theology. Because Satan is their Lord. They sacrifice to Satan behind closed doors. And I'm speaking about who? The Jesuits. They have moved us from our God, our law, our Savior. They have disconnected us from our Savior and have replaced him with the devil. And now Satan has become that angel of light that we've come to worship and sing to every Sunday in Sunday service. Come on.
Verse 15. Therefore it is no great marvel, or that it is no great thing, if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works.
Who end shall be what?
According to their works.
One more scripture. And then I need some announcements here. Romans 13.
Romans chapter 13, verse 1.
Come on.
Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
Romans 13 and 11.
Romans 13, verse 11. And knowing that the time is not, or that knowing the time, that it is now nigh, Salakia, starting from the top. Romans 13 and 11. And that knowing the time.
And that knowing the time.
That now it is high time.
Now it is high time to what?
To awake out of sleep.
To awake out of sleep. Because we all know what's in the chalice, what's in the cup. You got it, folks. It puts the children of Israel to sleep. So the Bible is telling us it's high time that we awaken out of sleep, from sleep now. No more accepting the excuses we've been getting from organized religion. No more of the excuses. Well, I don't follow God's law because of this. Well, I do Sunday worship because of this. Well, what did God say do, Pastor? What did Christ say do? When you hear that, run. Well, I eat anything I want because of this. Well, did Christ eat pork, Pastor? Well, he showed that vision to Peter. So when Peter got up, did he eat pork or did he accept the Gentile? So no longer will we accept the Jesuit lies that are taught to us as doctrine within our communities. Never again. So the Bible says it is high time that we awake out of sleep, because we're the ones sleeping. You wonder why everyone else is progressing? Well, look at our people. Why are we in such case? Because they're go-getters. They're getting the kingdom that their God, Satan, promised them. They're not asleep concerning, this temporal Babylonian kingdom and all its advantages. They're not asleep concerning it. So listen, they're gonna take full advantage of this kingdom while it's still here. They're not asleep concerning their part in all this. It's us. And when are we going to learn following their religions empowers them over us? If you want to know what's going on with the religion, you must first look at the God who delivered it to you. Okay. What Arab can deliver some righteous kingdom for me? What way of life can an Arab teach me? Their God is Allah. My God made his God. Okay. By the same token, what can a Jesuit or a Catholic teach me? You conquered us, you killed us, and gave us your brand of Christianity and put up a false image to be my God. So if you lied about Christ's color and who he is, how can I trust you about anything? No. We'll stick with the prophets in the Bible. We'll stick with the words of God and believe on Christ as the scripture have said, opposed through philosophy and vain deceit from Jesuits. Christ told us in Matthew 24, many shall come in my name and say I am Christ, and say they're Christ, and shall deceive many. It wasn't speaking about in specific our people. It was speaking of that Christ was telling the disciples, Jerusalem must fall. And some other people is going to come with some new jack Christianity that's going to deceive the world. The same people who are not written in the book of life will deceive my people and lead them to hell. He was speaking of the Catholic Church. And you know what? He was also speaking of the dark faction of the Catholic Church that controls all of Christian theology in the Western world. The Jesuits. Get it before they take it. Before they take it off the shelves or stop the print altogether. With that, you have to say anything, Elder Lloyd?
No, sir.
Even though I'm going to be bringing out history moments out of this book and other books, right? It's just putting out some Jesuit breadcrumbs so that you can chase these vermins back to where they came from, so you can see the hole they crawled out of hell. Since the inception of the Roman Catholic Church, these dark devils have been operating against us. So we're going to be giving you information in history, and we're going to call it a Jesuit moment. On our GOCC media, we're going to be throwing out tidbits of history. Sometimes 3-minute clips, 5-minute clips, different parts of history, what's going on in the earth, what's going on in real time. I may chime in. Every day you're going to have something on GOCC media. Okay. With that, we're going to answer a few questions, then wish you all Godspeed. Keep in mind, here's the link to our new page GOCC Media. Make sure you all, there's about almost 1,500 people in here right now. Do me a favor and make sure you go to that link and subscribe to that page immediately and get those subscriptions up for GOCC, the GOCC Media. And when you get a chance, also go to A Gathering 144. A Gathering 144, the page is now back. So we'll be streaming this Wednesday from our page again. And subscribe there again because they're unsubscribing people from the main page. So go back to A Gathering 144. Click on the home page. Get inside the page itself. Some people just look at the side links and follow us that way. No. We need you to go to the page. Click on A Gathering 144. Click on it. Go to the page. Hit the subscription and hit the bell. And make sure when you see our videos, you like, share, and subscribe it so that we can get the word out before they censor everything. But now we received our A Gathering 144 page back. But we also have GOCC Media, which we're going to actually put a lot of stuff on and build that page also. And I thank you for your participation. And I also thank Elder Gabar for allowing us to be here on the New York page. I really appreciate that. But we will be back at our original YouTube home next week. A Gathering 144. We'll be doing the Sabbath directly from there. I'll show the Eusebius book next week because it's right now it's at the church. I'm at a different location. I'm not at the church right now. But I will be showing you excerpts from that also. No problem. And yeah, let me also say that for those who don't know, the album is now out. Let me share that with you here. Hold on. Let me share it with you. 1 second. Yeah. Remove. And while I'm getting this, I want to put out there that you can donate directly to us. If you put it in our names, you can go to our page gatheringofchrist.org to know exactly how to send tithes and offerings directly to the elders and deacons like myself and Elder Lawyer if you would like. Being that the church money is the church money, and what's sent to us for tithes and offerings personally and our name goes to us. Okay, so if you would like to, give us an offering, and that will be much appreciated, you would send it to 2000 Hamilton Street, P.O. Box 946. That's Hamilton Street, 2000 Hamilton Street, P.O. Box 946, Philadelphia, PA 19130. You can put it in my name, Richard Shepard Jr., or you can put it in Brandon Ray's name. That's Lawyer's name. And you can put in parentheses Rakashiar and Lawyer. So, just to make it fine, all right? Also, if you would like to donate more, you can donate directly there. If you like to be in the academy, you can go to historytimes.org. And please come on in, because a lot of this information you've heard today, we teach, on a higher level every Sunday in the academy. So don't miss that. I keep on saying you don't know what you're missing by not being there. It's only $50 a month, and the money do go towards us furthering this work you see here. All right, let me get it here. Browser, Chrome. The album is now out, and we're doing hard copies for $15, not including shipping and handling. And we're doing the downloads for $10, okay? And you can download almost immediately. Let me get it for you here. One moment. Oh, my fault. Let me get that out of here. One moment. Let me get a page here. Window capture, right? Yeah. So I'm going to give you the directive on how to grab the download for the songs. 1 second. Right here. There it is. Okay. Okay. The way to go about it. 1 second. Yeah. Okay, this is how you go about it right here, okay? You go to royaltymusicbyshepherd.com. royaltymusicbyshepherd.com. It's out now. And welcome to the Royalty Music by Shepherd Project. Music with a purpose created to inspire our generation in this great time of the awakening. Join us in this epic music project that begins with the release of our brand new single, A Higher Powers With Me, and our debut album, Music with the Purpose, Volume 1. Available in digital downloads and physical CDs, culminating in statewide and international revival tours. This project will send ripples through the music industry and hopefully reverberate with you for a long time. Are you ready? Let's get it. And as you can see, you go here and you can download the album. Or you can get it in singles. If you just want to hear the snippets of how the singles sound, you have the options to do so. Okay? And you can preview the album tracks right here. Okay? That's one thing I wanted to show you. All right? Go to royaltymusicbyshepherd.com if you would like to get the album, and it does support the work and help us also, okay? Also, here's a new page. The GOCC media page. The GOCC media page, okay? This is where you'll find our playlist for music, blogs, and all types of daily correspondence with the church as far as what's going on with the church on a regular basis, media-wise. The GOCC media right here for you. So make sure you go to this page and immediately subscribe now. Hit the bell up here. See that bell? Make sure you hit the bell for notifications and you hit the subscribe button here. So you will hit this, hit the bell, right? And you will hit subscribe. And I'm subscribed. As you can see, it popped up to the left. Okay? And this way we'll further the work, and which will allow us into greater doors, more doors to free the children of Israel going forward. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm getting a lot of responses from the album, and I thank all of you who have actually purchased it. Mm-hmm. But I'm getting a lot of positive responses from it, and it's been a long time coming.
Absolutely.
Lawyer, you got the album, right?
Yes, sir. I got 2 of them.
He got 2 of them. Oh man, thank you. All right. Let's see here. So please go and support the work. You can download it. Yes, you can. You can download it. Okay. And you can get it in hard copy also. Don't worry about it. The songs that are not on this, we're going to work to have them on the second volume. Don't worry about it. It has the Zion on it. Yes. All praises be to the Most High. All right. With that, I'm going to say, stay prayed up. Sin not. We will soon be in an area near you to continue to spread this gospel. Okay. And do us a favor. Stay away from Jesuit control. Leave the Jesuit chambers called church and come back to the law, statutes, and commandments of God and follow the Bible and learn Christ. Learn him. follow the Bible in spirit and in truth. I'm Elder Rick Harshaw. This is Elder Lawyer. We're the Gathering of Christ Church. We're elders of it. Stay prayed up, sin not, and brothers and sisters, I'll see you tomorrow in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Shalom.
Shalom.
I was lost, but now I'm found. I'm a child of Israel. I heard
What?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
please give me the strength.
I just want to put something out there, let people know what's coming. So here it comes.
Absolutely.
Let them Jesuits know we're on our way.